in South Florida, Twist Gaming. Featuring lead broadcaster, Matt Koza. Co-host and creative genius, Josh Perry. Co-host and interviewer extraordinaire, Ann Lazito. Co-host and marketing mogul, Aaron Murphy. With appearances from special guest, Lucy. Welcome to Twist Gaming, where you get to play board games with us.
Good evening, everyone. We are Twist Gaming, and as you saw in the video, I'm Matt.
I'm Ann.
I'm Josh.
And this is our first impression session of our Spotlight stream, where we go over our favorite aspects of the game, any constructive criticisms we have, and the most important question of the evening of would we play this game again. And tonight we had the pleasure of showing off Steam Pirates by Golden Egg Games.
Look at that box.
You got it, Ann. The prototype box. So big shout out to Golden Egg Games and Steam Pirates for sponsoring this stream and all of this week's streams.
Yes.
So first and foremost, I'm going to toss it to Josh. Josh, what kind of game is Steam Pirates?
Worker placement, dice drafting, victory point game. There's probably a couple of them.
Light Euro?
Mechanisms.
Midweight Euro.
Midweight Euro?
A little bit on the heavier side, I think. It's not heavy, but
It's definitely not heavy.
It's a little above light Euro.
And thematically speaking, this is a game where we're playing steampunk airship pirates.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, that covers it pretty easily, I
Yeah.
think. So first and foremost, we go into our favorite aspects of the game. So we'll talk about the parts of the game that we really enjoyed during our Spotlight. And if you haven't seen the Spotlight, definitely go. Stop right now. Watch the video on demand. It's a lot of fun. Anyways, what I like, there's a lot of different ways to score. The game definitely gives you a lot of options for what you can do. It seemed like it would be overwhelming when I was first reading the rulebook, but it actually wasn't bad. And I think it flowed very nicely. The dice kind of guided you in what you can do, and this reminds me of how Walter from Greenbrier Games goes about designing dice throwing games, in that you're never stuck with no action from the dice. It's not you roll and you go, oh crap, I can't do anything. It's you roll and you see, how can I manipulate this to help me?
Yeah.
So I thought that was very nice. There was some potential at the end of the game for us to get stuck because both myself and Josh had used all of our resource houses, good houses, whatever they were called, trade houses.
Trade houses.
Yeah.
But we actually didn't encounter that problem. I thought the dice weighted nicely with the layout of them. I liked the thematics of the British and the pirate characters that you were kind of bribing and pulling things from. So I thought that was really nice. Anne, how about you? What were some things that you liked?
I think
Aye, Captain.
I think you touched on a lot of the same things that I liked. I liked the theme of the game. I think that it fit really well. You know, steam pirates, steampunk pirates, exploring different floating islands. It's very right in with the right theme. It's British. It's very, Victorian era-esque.
It's whimsical.
Yep.
It's a little bit more of a whimsical take on your traditional pirate endeavor.
The art. Some of the art I really like. I think is really pretty. The ships.
The ships are absolutely gorgeous.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. I do have to admit that the finished art that we're seeing, and I'm going to stop here for a second and make a point to say that this game is very much in a prototype phase, the version that we have here. So the majority of the components that you're seeing are not finished. Very early stage prototypes. So we've got some of the ships here.
Look how pretty that is. Like it's really pretty.
And they're unique enough that you could actually tell from a distance.
Yeah.
So I really like that. And look, Admiral Timberwolf is here. So we've got an admiral in our presence. And
Indubitably.
You pointed this out during the stream, and I really enjoyed the fact that they took a lot of nautical influences for the design of the airships. And I'm talking biological nautical influences. So this very much looks like a whale, and it's the big enforcer ship that's lumbering along. So I thought that was really neat that they took that.
And then the Dreadnought looks like Mad Max.
At the
like
same
it's
time,
super piratey.
It looks like a piranha too.
You think so?
Like a long, maybe a barracuda. Like it's definitely got that
Cuda?
aggressive, like
Yeah.
predator fish look to it. So
Yeah.
I thought that was really neat and very Mad Max as well. Like it
Yeah.
was slapped together and it just barely works, but it works well.
The board art is really nice too with the islands,
Gonna
how the
switch
islands
over
were
to the
made.
board for a second.
I do really like, if you look at the little towns and the cities, it's really cute. The background with the sky. This area is really cute. I like how it was kind of connected by clouds. I thought that was done really well.
You know what I took that as? I took it as like the exhaust puffs
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
airships as they were going around because we were
I think it
collecting
made sense.
coal.
And we were making trails,
Yeah.
right?
Chemtrails.
The art for the officials is different, but it's still nice. A little bit of a watercolor feel almost. And I liked the mix of officials. I thought that was neat. I thought the judge was maybe the coolest character, and I think this goes back to they're all dressed in a little bit of that very the costume is very that steampunk.
Victorian.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's me right there. Actually, they used me
The
as a
little
model for
jester
that.
look, the smuggler's kind of the same way with the harlequin face.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. That is cool.
Yeah, I thought the art was really cool.
All
for
right.
that things.
So, Josh, how about you? What were some aspects that you enjoyed?
You guys
about
hit
the
a lot
game?
of things. I do like the resource management of the game. It's a fun aspect I enjoyed of trying to figure out how things work and the best way to do them. So I like that.
I'm going to step on your toes a little bit. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed the limiting aspect of the trade houses because I didn't really, it didn't register in my head when we were playing. But then about halfway through the game, or near the end even, when I only had a couple of the houses left, I'm just like, I just realized that I'm never going to be getting points from automatons and rum because I'm not going to build any trade houses on those because of the point scale. And it definitely came back to bite me in the ass a little bit because when you started blockading the coal, I was getting 3 gold a round versus 28 gold a round.
Right.
Like, it's a huge difference.
Yeah.
So it's very much a boom or bust the way that I laid it out, but I enjoyed the fact that you can build yourself in very different ways versus I'm only going to prioritize one thing. I'm going to be the kingpin of coal, or I'm going to trade goods evenly, and maybe it's not as rewarding, but it's
you
not
don't
as
get
risky.
hit. Yeah.
Yeah. Josh?
No, I agree with that. I think that it's a nice little mechanism of the game is that, and that's what I kind of focused on. I built every single coal location had a trading house for me.
Yep.
So I was getting 35 gold every time I did that, as long as it wasn't blocked. And I picked up the smuggler so I can kind of get away from it if needed.
I picked that up a little too late. I should have bought that earlier.
Yeah. So I like that. I like the different actions and things like that. But you guys have anything else? Because I'm going to kind of segue this into...
Yeah, I think this is an appropriate time to go into the constructive criticisms.
So I don't mind the dice drafting. I like that. I just feel like some actions are a lot weaker than others.
Such as?
And it depends also on which part of the game you're in.
Yeah.
Like building a location didn't matter at the end of...
No, not at all.
Actually, in Season 2, I wasn't really caring that much anymore. Like, it wasn't a thing.
Yeah, you built very quickly in the beginning.
I built very quickly in the beginning, and that might just be my play style, but I kind of built quickly at the beginning.
I know where you're directing this, and I very much have the same feeling of the money being worth a little too much.
Maybe the money's worth a little too much, or the other stuff's not worth enough.
Yeah.
I really would have liked to use the abilities of all the bribes more.
Right.
Like, I wanted to use that ability more.
Yeah.
But I didn't have the option to because we didn't roll.
That's true. We didn't roll very many of those officer choices.
Like, I would have. Like, I don't mind there being 2 pays on here, but maybe one of them being a dual action, or either just to up the chances or something like that. Just because it would make it a little bit more interesting.
I don't think that the officials' actions are worth it. Once you got the pirate queen, you had access to all of the other pirate characters
Base actions, yeah.
in one move, and the same ones with the other things. The governor, discard the governor character card. The officials' abilities just aren't really well balanced. I don't think. I mean, there's some that are really valuable. There's some that are really not. And I understand that they're weighted differently when you're going over to the bribe. And I get it, the advantage of the governor. Discard the governor character card. Great. So nobody can get the other 7 victory points for that. But that person's also got to pay 7 gold to get those 7 victory points. I mean,
but then you have the Pirate Queen where you buy it and you get 5 points for buying it. And then you're like, oh, I can use any ability now.
And you also
or any pirate ability.
Randomly take treasure, so you don't even have to fly around the board.
Yeah. That card's way OP.
Yeah.
But here, look, overall, I think this game is trying to do too much.
I can see that. I mean, it definitely has a lot of different things, and I think that, some of the options get diluted, like the treasure hunt.
You're trying to do your goal cards. You're trying to do event cards. You're trying to collect for event things. You have 900 different official options. You're trying to do resource management, money management. This game has worse ADD than I do. I mean, you've got the seasons with the different things. It's too much going on in this short of a game.
One more thing I do want to point out is that typically when we do our spotlight streams, we have one person who reads through the rules, they secondhand the information to someone else, and then someone goes in blind. We did not do that for this game because we were actually having trouble, and I don't know if it's the way that the rulebook was worded or some of the difficulties that we had with not having all of the final components with us, because we did struggle a lot throughout the game.
I want to make this distinction.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to sit here and bash it, but I did tell Elad beforehand that this was not going to be this spotlight show was not going to showcase this game in the best way possible because unfortunately, not only were we provided with prototype components, but we were provided with an insufficient amount of prototype components. So even all throughout the game, we had to pull out meeples from other games. We had to pull out our tabletop talismans, which is great. I mean, that's the purpose of why we have this. We were pulling out components for all sorts of other games.
And we were constantly kind of trading.
Yeah,
things
and they're
around
all
on the
different
board.
colors are important. And this player board, whenever you knock it, stuff shifts. I'm trying to decide whether my upside down trade house. It makes it very disorganized. So when you're setting up the game to start off with, it took 3 of us to read through the directions to figure out what we were trying to do with this game.
So this game definitely had a fairly steep learning curve compared to some of the other games that we showed off on stream. So that's one thing that I did want to highlight. I think trimming a little bit of the fat would go a long way.
Yeah, and I think I still like the bribes and stuff. I think a simplified version, they don't need 3 different actions.
I would knock out half of these officials.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not even sure if you knock out half of them or just each one has one ability, and it happens when you bribe it, and you also get the victory points with it.
Or you pull it and you can't use the ability the first time. It's
something.
Maybe. Yeah, so you have to invest in them to use the ability moving forward. I can see that.
This is one of those games to me that it feels like there's something really great there.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, I liked flying around, and I think that if we had the right components, which were more organized and easier to use, like I didn't have to keep on flipping colors and trying to guess where my pieces are supposed to be. If this was more organized, then I could really enjoy the fun of this game, which comes from flying around in the different routes.
Exploring,
watching the 2 other companies go through. How can I zoom around that?
So like the treasure hunt mechanic, I thought it was a cute component to add. At the same time, we had all of them by like the first part of season 2.
And once you get the Pirate Queen, boom, I don't think the Pirate Queen should have picked up the treasure hunt pieces because the treasure hunt should have been its own goal.
Because you actually kicked ass by purposefully flying around the board to do that.
And I never got
Josh
the Pirate
and I
Queen.
were just like, okay, cool, we get them.
Yeah.
And I can see that that's a little disappointing on your end. One other thing that I would definitely change is the scale of the board. I think that the size of the board is good. I think that the scale is off. The island part should be bigger because there's so many components, especially when you have these ship standees and then this big mamma jamma that's there. And it does block some stuff. So I think if this was bigger and then this section, the bribe section of the board, could be a quarter of the size that it is.
Yep.
simply because you have the references on your character sheets and everything, and I don't know that you need the pirate dice section of the board. So I think if you scaled that down and made this part bigger, it would go a long way in the organization that you're referring to. At least that's my personal take on that.
I mean, you could fit the compass. The compass should not be its own separate thing. I feel like the
think
compass.
in the directions, the final board might have it on there from how it was read. So
Okay.
I
think that just might be a prototype
it was
thing.
a separate component based off of the instruction manual.
The compass is right here. I mean, like this could.
Yeah.
This could. I mean, it just.
That could easily serve
that's
the
just part of the
purpose, yeah.
prototype, I think. Something else I want to talk about. The quests were interesting, but
they were
you
cute
couldn't
stories.
really help trigger them. Like to help trigger them was almost.
Could be very
Nigh.
damaging in a way, yeah.
I enjoyed doing it in round 2, and for me, you guys went through a strategy of going hard in the coal, and the second that I was able to move that frigate into the coal and block your embargoes, it was a good move for me.
I'm not saying it
Yeah.
wasn't a good move, but
And it got me 5 victory points.
to be able to trigger it, you have to have. There's only 2 people that can move it, or 3 people. Technically 4, because the queen can. But each one has 2 characters that can move it.
Yeah.
And you have to bribe them or use a bribe action for them.
It just takes a lot.
It takes a lot of
move that.
action just to move it. And then it normally takes 1 or 2 people to actually move it. So if you spend an action to move it, unless you're blocking someone, it most likely is useless because it's not going to reach its final destination still. So you're not going to get the 5 points where you could have took that 5 points and you could have took that action and done bunch of different other things and make it more useful. And that action was, you could have probably done something better with that action itself instead of activating that thing.
Yeah.
And I think as the seasons went by, I think this should have been a linear, and the victory point should have scaled up.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially in the last season, because that was really hard because you really need to work on it.
I think the goals should have been worth a little more too. I think a lot of the issues for me comes with the scale of the points that are available. Because if you look at the final score, what did you got 79? I got 74, 75,
Something like that.
and I got 40 points, and you got 49 points off of the final thing.
Yeah.
So
How'd you get 200 gold, and then
So-
get 49 points if 4 gold is 1 point?
you divide your gold by 4.
If you have 200 gold
Yeah,
divided by 4,
right.
It's 50.
never mind,
50.
it's 50. I'm just kidding.
So
Okay,
no,
what's
yeah,
count?
the last couple turns, every time Josh or I triggered a profit action, I was getting 38 gold each round. You were getting what, 50?
I was getting, with the rum block, I was getting 39.
Yeah,
Without the rum block, I was getting 43.
yeah.
So I got 43, 39, 39
So
the last
we were
turn.
getting 10 points for every action at the end of the game, which seemed a little excessive.
I had to have been doing something wrong to only have wound up with 86. I'm not. I don't know if it's because stuff kept on getting shifted around and I got confused, or if stuff kept on sliding on my board.
Yeah, there was a lot of times where we had to go back and recount, and I definitely think that kind of threw off our games.
Talking about that, this board was a
recessed board.
recess
Yep.
board would be great.
That'd be awesome.
I know we're supposed to have that little round.
I think that would have been a much better.
Yeah.
I
Connection
still don't
tracker?
even. I don't think the connection. I don't even like that. I would like there to be 2 different tracks.
And the board is too small to have those 2 icons on it. I mean, Leslie, let's put 2 markers on it. That's what kept on messing me up too, because you put one of these pieces is the same size of an island on my board. I can't. How am I going to fit my connect? That's why you needed the moon in the thing, because
Yeah.
it's occupying the same space.
They sit inside of each
And
other.
I also would have liked I would have liked number counts on the bottom of the islands, because I'm like, all right,
Yes.
what?
That's
I
a
have
great
4 or
idea.
5. Like super simple. Like
Yeah.
I can count to 7 real quick, but it would be a lot easier for me to look at a number and be like, oh, that's where that's at.
Yeah.
We often talk about our nitpicky things that we don't like. The iconography in this game could have gotten much better. Could have been much better. The art quality is so good that the firearm, looking at that firearm, that bomb, that very simple bomb against the beautiful, detailed island, it just looks misplaced.
You know, I don't mind it actually.
I like the automaton.
Oh, how
here,
it's
but
the full symbol, how it's just a nested bomb.
yeah.
I think if it was actually the full bomb icon, that would have made it a little bit nicer for me. Should have been red too, but.
I feel like I had something else. Oh, the font on this is
Hard to read.
I know Elad said that he did make a point of saying that they changed the font around
Okay.
because there was a little bit of issues reading it, like when you said
Arendelle and Frenendelle.
Frendel, yeah.
yeah. It just doing the kind of scripted font, and especially at a smaller size
For lots of text.
for lots of text is difficult.
That's an issue that we've seen with a lot of games.
Yeah.
I know we noticed that during the War of the Cross game, is that the scripted font was a little difficult to read at times. And I mean, I get that it's very nice
Thematic.
for thematics, but you gotta make sure your form doesn't take over your function.
Yeah. Other things, I don't know if it's in the game. Quick reference guide would be nice. I would like a little miniature map on my board almost.
Ooh.
And it could just have the names and the icons. I don't need
Yep.
the whole island picture. Just kind of how things are connected, and I can
Yep.
kind of figure out what I'm doing.
One thing I want to note for everyone at home is that we do play the game upside down because we face it towards the camera, so that adds a little bit more difficulty for us too. So we will pick up on the font issues and the readability issues a lot more because of that. So it stands out a lot more to us.
So I'm like, it was just there's a lot of pieces on the board, and it's just looking at the board right now. If you switch it over, like it's hard to read with everything up on there. What's what?
I would love to see the board scaled a little bit more. I think that would have aided a lot for me. But with that, we'll go into the most important question of the evening of would you play this game again? And I'm going to throw it over to Bob Marley at the end there.
Yeah, I actually did enjoy the game. I would play it again. Might make a couple tweaks to. If we had final component stuff, it would be a lot better.
Yeah.
But no, it was a fun game. I actually really did enjoy it. We don't get to play many Euros that often, and this is in the about right wheelhouse of what I like for my Euros. It's not too heavy, but it's heavy enough to do some strategy and thinking in it. So I would like to see the final version and play it again.
Anne?
No. It's a no on me. This game needs a lot of work, and I don't think that I would pick it up again until it was, in my opinion, fixed or trimmed down or revised.
Understandable. I would say yes. I'm in the same boat as Josh here, where I like the backbone of the game. I think it's got a nice structure to it, and I love the theme a lot. I can see that it's got something really great at the core. I definitely want to pick up the final version, and I mean that's kind of the caveat here is that if some of the issues aren't addressed for me, then the final version will be a little bit of a letdown. But at the same time, I'm cautiously optimistic that I could pick up the final version and have fun with it because I did enjoy playing this, and I think those minor tweaks would make it a game that I'd be comfortable with taking off the shelf for a Euro game, considering that we typically don't do that a lot. We don't do a lot of Euros. And so someone's saying, what do you think about the art in the game? So we addressed that a little earlier, but the art, we very much enjoyed the art style of the game.
Oh, the ships, and we were talking
Absolutely
about.
Gorgeous.
Where's my judge and my judge and my smuggler? I think are my two. Oh, you have them.
Your smug and your juggler.
My smug and my jug. These two were absolutely my favorite characters. I really liked that kind of Victorian era look, and it's perfectly steampunk.
Yeah.
I mean, it's perfectly steampunk. I think the art is fantastic. The art on the islands, it's a little hard to see. Maybe it'll show like that island art.
It's actually pretty detailed on that.
Yeah, like I thought that turned out really, really nicely. But then on the same token, for me personally, I just don't think that the art everywhere matches up. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the iconography on here. I hope some of it gets changed. Even here with the iconography, there's the little hand kind of is a little lame to me.
Looks a little placeholdery, so I'm not sure what the final Kickstarter is.
This was kind of neat. That's a mask on the gear house. It's green screen, but that was kind of a neat a neat look to it.
So Fredp, the game is on Kickstarter right now.
I don't know the price, but you can put the link up with the sponsor message.
Oh, it's set up? Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So if I do that, and I do... It's around here somewhere. There we go. So that link should take you over to the Kickstarter for Steam Pirates by Golden Egg Games. And with that, that's actually going to conclude our coverage today for our first impression session for our Spotlight of Steam Pirates by Golden Egg Games. So big shout out to Golden Egg Games and Steam Pirates for sponsoring this stream and all of this week's streams. If you guys are just joining us now and you haven't had a chance to check out our Spotlight, we did a full playthrough of Steam Pirates where we did a nice interview with Elad, and you did a wonderful job with that as usual. A full playthrough of the game, full rules explanation, and you can see me get really salty when Josh beat me by 4 points. So with that, thank all of you for joining us today. We really do appreciate it. We're going to do our full sign-off spiel at the end here. If you guys are watching on demand over on YouTube or on Twitch on demand, make sure that you follow us on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and come chat with us in our Discord channel where sometimes Josh wears that wig while he talks with people.
Sure.
As a reminder, guys, if you have Amazon Prime, that means you have Twitch Prime, 1 free sub every month. We would be honored if you used it for us, and all of that money goes back into funding the stream and getting you guys some awesome giveaways. We'll go into that more in just a minute.
Hello, Frepe. Fredpe. I probably pronounced that completely wrong.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Wait, to end the show.
Yeah.
Can you read that for me?
Autonomous tons.
Autonomous tons. With that, thank you all for joining us today. We really do appreciate it. Signing off for Twist Gaming, I'm Matt.
I'm Ann.
I'm Bob Marley.
Good night, everyone.